We're the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. The United States breaks a decades-long UN consensus opposing humanitarian protections as woke. It has sparked criticism from allies who warn that lives are at risk.
A federal judge ruled that teachers may inform parents about a student's gender identity, sparking a California appeal and concerns over student safety, privacy, and LGBTQ+ protections.
HRC files class action challenging Trump policy ending gender-affirming care for coverage for federal employees, citing civil rights law violations nationwide.
Wicked composer Stephen Schwartz cancels Kennedy Center appearance, citing loss of apolitical identity of the center.
Orlando's Sentinel sues Florida agency for withholding records on secret removal of Pulse nightclub memorial Rainbow Crosswalk, ordered by Governor Ron DeSantis. All this important LGBTQ+ news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. Today, we are celebrating the 6th anniversary of Queer News Tonight with more than 11,000 LGBTQ television stories.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified that Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 11 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow family. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Tuesday, January 6th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBT community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2026, our magazine is celebrating 41 years of the LGBTQ experience.
We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fete. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2026, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voices as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Now let's welcome anchor Larry Farver. Larry has over 20 years of experience in human resources, acting, film, radio, TV, live events, parade float design, production, and casting. He's also a board member of the West Side Association. Larry, Woof and Wine brings Pups, People, and Pours to Colohatchee Dog Park on January 8th. Tell me, what's happening out?
Sure, Jeff. Dog lovers are invited to mix, mingle, and unwind at Woof and Wine on Thursday, January 8th, from 4 to 6 p.m. at Colohatchee Park in Wilton Manors. This relaxed social event welcomes dog owners and their furry companions to enjoy the park's doggy play area while connecting with fellow pet parents. Guests can sample a selection of wine and light appetizers as dogs socialize off-leash in a friendly environment. Woof and Wine is the perfect way to meet neighbors, celebrate community, and treat both humans and pups to an early evening out. More details at wiltonmanors.gov. Well, this is an ongoing event several times a year in Wilton Manors. I just think it shows the uniqueness of our city, Wilton Manors, in the greater Fort Lauderdale area. And I think many people in this area are pet friendly, and we have a lot of dog lovers. So I encourage you to go out and check it out.
Go ahead.
I was like, Pups and Pinot? Sounds like a barking good time.
I think there's more dogs than humans in Wilton sometimes.
I think you're right.
When you walk around, at least one person has 2 dogs. One person had 6 dogs the other day going in front of Tulio's. I was like, where do you have all these dogs at?
And I see all these carriages and prams on the drive, and I look in to see if there's a baby, and often it's the dog.
I was just thinking that maybe we should put a warning on the bottom of this story that this is for actual dogs, not for any
Bitches.
people that like to be pets or pups or else of that nature. So this is for actual canines. So just make sure you know the details before you head out. Well, we look forward to seeing you at Wolf and Wine on January 8th. Now let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ publications and websites. Gregg, the Stonewall Movie Nights returns with a free screening of The Wedding Banquet on January 8th. Tell me, what's happening out?
I will be hosting the January edition of Stonewall Movie Nights, a collaboration between Out South Florida and the Stonewall National Museum, Archives, and Library. On Thursday, January 8th at 6:30 p.m., we are presenting a free screening of Ang Lee's wonderful 1993 original version of The Wedding Banquet. It's a really wonderful movie. I actually like it better than the recent remake of it. But it's interesting because it came out in 93. It stars Mitchell Lichtenstein, who's the son of the painter Roy Lichtenstein, and Winston Chow. And it actually preceded Brokeback Mountain, which was Ang Lee's other really big movie. He won an Oscar for Brokeback Mountain. So that preceded it by 12 years. So if you've seen the disappointing 2025 remake, please come see this one.
Who is the actress?
I forget the actress's
name.
I don't think she ever went on to...
Oh, she didn't. Okay, I was wondering, that's not...
it's not Michelle Yeoh.
From the Joy Yeoh. I couldn't see from...
Oh, no.
Not her.
I don't think this one... No.
And that thing you were holding is a DVD. For those at home, that's a DVD. It's not
that's
streaming.
It will be screaming.
He is holding an actual DVD in his hand.
Which we'll be showing at the screening, yes.
Great. Well, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Stonewall Movie Nights, free screening of The Wedding Banquet on January the 8th. Let's welcome anchor Jason Núñez. Jason Núñez is a trailblazing leader, passionate entrepreneur, and fierce advocate for equality. He is president and CEO of the Greater Fort Lauderdale LGBT Chamber of Commerce and is a third-generation minority Air Force veteran. He has served at the Pentagon, White House, State Department, and Department of Labor. Welcome to the show, Jason.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. How's your new year?
It's very good. Excited to be here with you tonight.
Same. So I'm really excited because this weekend, 2 of our members from the chamber are joining forces and going to do a wellness bazaar over at La Mexicana. So January 11th on Sunday, come do HIIT, yoga. There's going to be a bazaar, vendors, and it's just an opportunity to showcase our chamber members in the wellness space, especially to kick off the new year. So I'm excited to bring more to the audience as the year goes on.
That sounds like a great event. I know a lot of people are doing dry January, so it's something to do to get out of the house that doesn't bring you to a bar. So I'm in favor of that as well. So definitely sounds like a great time. So, and where is the location again?
La Mexicana Taco Bar. So it's behind the Wilton Collective.
So some wellness and tacos, but no margaritas.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Jeff Oliverio. Jeff is founder and president of the Hollywood LGBTQ Plus Council and serves as co-chair for the upcoming 5th annual My Hollywood Pride on January 24th. He also serves on the Save Gala Committee. Jeff is a director and certified financial planner with Truist Wealth based in Fort Lauderdale. Jeff, My Hollywood Pride brings queer comedy to Hollywood Art and Culture Center on January 17th. Tell me what's happening.
Well, we are really excited. Queer Comedy is returning for our third year on January 17th, 2026 from 7 to 10 p.m. And is presented, of course, by My Hollywood Pride. And we are going to be at the fabulous Hollywood Art and Culture Center in downtown Hollywood, and the new space that was just opened this past in 2025 at the end of the year. This high energy night will celebrate LGBTQ joy and fearless voices with our amazing host, Abby Ballin, and headliner Bear Clark Webb, and joined by our organizer, actually, Dr. Anna Lepley, and our special guest, Rob Callert. Expect the night to have bold, unapologetic comedy and big pride energy. We have a evening meet and greet VIP experience with cocktails before the show, and you can do photos and buy merch from some of the comedians. This event in the past few years has sold out, so get tickets early. Tickets are available on our website, myhollywoodpride.com, or go to Eventbrite, where you can see all of our events there. This event was an idea we had a couple years ago, and we thought, is anybody going to come to a comedy show in downtown Hollywood for queer comedians? We hosted it previously at the movie theater at Cinema Paradiso, which was challenging to do a comedy night instead of a movie theater, but we did it, and now we have this really amazing space to do this in. And it's really interesting because the comedy night has brought out a side of people to Pride events that I've never met before. A lot of them are people that follow the comedians or really go out for comedy nights, and it's a whole new slice of people that have kind of shown up and become part of the Hollywood Pride community. So it's a really fun night, and Anna Lepley kind of produces this for us, and she is she's really good. She brings in really great talent, and for a relatively small ticket price, I think it's a really fun night.
Well, we definitely all need to laugh at this moment in time.
Yes.
And I'm sure we're all grateful to you, Jeff, and My Hollywood Pride. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
For an event like this. Thanks.
For sure.
Thank
Good
you.
idea. Well, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Queer Comedy at Hollywood Art and Culture Center on January 17th.
I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up the USA view. The U.S. blocks UN human rights measures, calling them woke. The United States has twice stood alone at the United Nations, voting against long-standing human rights resolutions and calling them too woke to support. Last month, Deputy U.S. Representative Jonathan Schreier condemned 2 UN measures protecting humanitarian and UN personnel, dismissing them as, quote, nothing more than a globalist wish list of divisive cultural causes, end quote. Ahead of the votes, U.S. officials objected to what they described as highly controversial language, arguing the text conflated LGBTQ and other sexual rights with reproductive health care. According to LGBTQ Plus Nation, the U.S. was the only country to vote against both resolutions in December, breaking 3 decades of consensus adoption. Defending the decision, Schreier said the Trump administration would not advance radical gender ideology in the UN, adding the policies, quote, distract from and directly undermine the real work to protect and promote the rights of women and girls around the world, end quote. He went further, accusing UN members of being obsessed with what he called gender insanity. European Union Representative Christina Marcus Lawson warned against politicizing basic protection, saying humanitarian workers face growing threats worldwide. Delegates from the UK and Indonesia cautioned that blocking the measures could cost lives, especially in conflict zones like Gaza. I mean, I think the most comical thing in here is that the Trump administration is worried about protecting the rights of women and girls when we just stripped women from all of their basic protections by overturning abortion care. I mean, it's laughable at best, and it's obviously designed to just distract and again continue using the trans community as a weapon.
And what about trans girls and women around the world? There's a lot of those too.
Absolutely.
And I really think it's ironic that Schreier, a descendant of Holocaust survivors, would be so cruel and ignorant. But look at his boss. He's working for that Nazi asshole. So he likes to be around Nazis again, I guess.
Oh. I'm Larry Farver, and let's queer up students and youth culture. Federal judge says teachers may out LGBTQ plus students to parents. In a blow to LGBTQ plus rights, a federal judge has ruled that teachers can disclose a student's gender identity to their parents. The U.S. District Judge Roger Benitez ruled that federal law allows school employees to notify parents of a child's gender incongruence. Benitez said that the decision to inform parents rests with individual teachers. The order also blocks school districts from misleading parents and bars staff directly lying to the parent, preventing the parent from accessing educational records of the child or using a different set of preferred pronouns, names when speaking with the parents than is being used at school, end quote. California has appealed the ruling. An appeals court has issued a request to pause the decision from taking effect. In court filings, California Attorney General Rob Bonta warned that the ruling would, quote, create chaos and confusion among students, parents, teachers, and staff at California's public schools and undermine long-standing state laws that protect vulnerable transgender and gender nonconforming students, end quote. Governor Gavin Newsom has defended the current law, saying, quote, teachers can still talk to their parents. What they can't do is fire a teacher for not being a snitch. I don't think teachers should be gender police, end quote. Well, there's a lot to unpack there. One of the things that was interesting about Judge Benitez is that, you know, he has been really called out for misconduct in the courts by the Ninth Courts. So, you know, it's probably not a surprise that, you know, he is who he is. But, you know, one has to wonder, too, in disclosing everything to a parent, there could be cases of child abuse. And I'm not necessarily talking about sexual, but there might be reasons not to disclose things about a child completely in their file. You know,
right, because they're home, they could be in danger in their home life. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I know from when we would have parents that would come to PFLAG and talk about their kids having issues in school. Again, I always used to use the terminology, PFLAG parents that come to a PFLAG meeting are already taking steps that most parents who have LGBTQ children do not take.
Yeah.
So this, you know, this is a problem that's probably not, or this is probably a solution not in search of a problem, because most kids who don't have affirming parents are not coming to school and being like, I'm going to go by he, her, or, you know, they, them at school, but at home, I'm going to, it's the kids that are probably being accepted at home. So I don't think that those parents are going to find out something. It's the other way around, where kids who might need to find a safe space and being able to talk to a teacher, which is what, you know, does happen from time to time. But I can't imagine that there's going to be a situation where the teacher's going to say, oh, they're asking to change their pronouns at school. Do you know about that's happening at home? Because I don't think those kids, at least again, in my personal experience, that's ever going to be an issue. I mean,
but if they're already saying that in school, they're probably comfortable at home.
Yes.
And as Governor Newsom said, teachers shouldn't be gender police.
No.
And I think
just let them teach.
Well, and there are a lot of LGBTQ and trans students who may be in the foster care system. And right now there is a rise in looking at allowing, you know, really allowing foster care parents not to be supportive of those children in their homes, which is just outlandish. Wow. It's sickening to even think about that.
Yeah. Well, again, another attempt at attacking the community.
I'm Gregg Shapiro, and let's queer up the USA View. HRC sues Trump administration over ban on gender-affirming care for federal workers. The Human Rights Campaign Foundation has filed a class action complaint against the Trump administration, challenging a policy that would deny gender-affirming health care to federal employees and their families. The complaint was filed with the U.S. Office of Personnel Management and targets changes to the federal employee health benefits and Postal Service health benefits programs that took effect at the start of the year. Under a letter sent by OPM to insurers beginning in 2026, quote, chemical and surgical modification of an individual's sex traits through medical interventions to include gender transition services will no longer be covered, end quote, with a narrow exception for people already mid-treatment. The complaint argues the policy violates Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, citing the Supreme Court's 2020 Bostock decision, which confirmed that sex discrimination includes gender identity. According to the HRC Foundation president, Kelly Robinson, because of this ban, quote, untold numbers of federal employees and their families will be left out to dry at the hands of a shameless administration hell-bent on targeting the transgender community, end quote. Attorney Kathy Harris added, quote, no federal employee should be discriminated against in healthcare or otherwise. The law protects them, end quote. The complaint seeks to block the policy, restore coverage, and secure damages. For me, the question is whether we can hold out until this shameless administration hell-bent on targeting the transgender community has been replaced. I, for one, hope so.
Yeah, I mean, again, we do story after story with the same messaging, which is around, again, attacks against the transgender community. I do find it, in the federal government, obviously we've had two things that have happened, of course, a mass firing of a lot of federal employees, of course. And, if you are an LGBTQ and especially someone from the trans community, what is the likelihood that you're going to seek employment in the federal government and this administration? It's going to be very low. I feel for the people that are already there and this is their livelihood, and then their medical care is now being restricted. So you're between a rock and a hard place. Do you leave your job to not have any medical care or a job, or do you stay and then have to pay out of pocket for the services that you need to for gender-affirming care
elsewhere?
Yeah. On the other side of the government side, a lot of military folks were kind of let go for being trans and being outed, and then to be able to serve like 19 years and then have to be told to get out and you don't get to retire. Like that's all the worst possible thing you could do. So
it'll be interesting to see if a lot of these, if and when we get through this, I won't say if, when we get through this administration and there is a policy change, if all these people will then be able to go back to sue the federal government to reinstate or to get damages that were caused. Again, I would imagine our government is going to be the class action lawsuit target for every other organization if we can get through, or once we get through the Trump administration.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah, there'll be billboards on 95.
Call this lawyer.
Yes.
I'm Jason Núñez, and let's queer up the USA View. Wicked composer Stephen Schwartz pulls out of Kennedy Center after Trump renaming. Wicked composer Stephen Schwartz has canceled an expected appearance at the Kennedy Center after the famed arts institution was renamed in honor of President Donald Trump. The 77-year-old Oscar and Grammy winner was set to appear at a May Gala with the Washington National Opera. In December, the Kennedy Center's board voted to rename the venue the Trump Kennedy Center, a move that sparked immediate backlash. In a statement, Schwartz explained his decision, saying, quote, the Kennedy Center was founded to be an apolitical home for artists of all nationalities and all ideologies. It is no longer apolitical, and appearing there has become an ideological statement. As long as that remains the case, I will not appear there, end quote. Interim Executive Director Richard Grinnell tweeted his response, quote, the Stephen Schwartz reports are totally bogus. He was never signed, and I've never had a single conversation on him since arriving, end quote. Schwartz joins other artists who've pulled out, including Hamilton, Issa Rae, and jazz band The Cookers. Meanwhile, Kennedy Center President Richard Grinnell dismissed reports of Schwartz's booking as totally bogus. The continuing controversy comes as ticket sales at the Kennedy Center hit their lowest point since the pandemic, with more than 43% of seats left unsold this fall. When I lived in D.C., the Kennedy Center was the staple to go to, like the event to go to. All cultural events. I remember seeing Rent there. I remember seeing multiple concerts. I spent New Year's there one year. And literally, if I was still in D.C., I would not go just because it's Trump's name there.
I mean, can you imagine? This is just, and talk about bogus. Miss Grinnell, no one is more bogus than you are. And I can almost forgive Schwartz for allowing John Chu to turn his beloved stage musical into an offensive 2-part cinematic abomination, but I'll work on that.
Richard Grinnell was interviewed by PBS NewsHour about the Kennedy Center, and it's just so interesting. The venue income is down 50%. Yet he's claiming that it's more financially secure than ever, citing that they've raised $130 million since Trump has been in office. Whether that is true or not, we'll probably not ever know because, again, nothing is ever audited. Or as Trump has done with many organizations, claim to be donating money and then it never shows up. Right. But I can only imagine that corporate sponsors are there for one reason, for eyeballs. So if people are not in the building, then why would corporate sponsors want to come back? Corporate sponsors are not looking for venues that are not selling out. And when there's plenty of venues to see shows like Broadway shows, huge artists that are coming into town that will sell out. And then he was also cited for saying, the Kennedy Center honors, the ratings were down. I mean, I don't know if anybody, I spent about 10 minutes watching the Kennedy Center honors, was I will only call them the Kennedy Center honors. Yeah. And I will just say the Gloria Gaynor Vegas review show that they put on, I felt like Gloria Gaynor was dying inside a little bit. Poor Denise Williams, she was the person that did the songs, and the backup dancers looked like they pulled like a solid gold dancer set out from like 1981 and put it on this. It was like something you would never see at the Kennedy Center. It was that tacky.
But see, now it makes you question Denise Williams. If Denise Williams showed up to perform for this, it was like Vanilla Ice performing at the New Year's Eve thing. These are people, they don't really care, obviously, and they don't mind being written off. I
mean, when was the last time you heard Denise Williams was booked somewhere? So I can't fault her for taking a gig. She is working in the entertainment industry, so I won't fault her for that. But yeah, he's grasping at straws with what they're doing there, and this is going to fail. Obviously, you have to attract big artists to come to a venue to make it successful. Like it's not gonna run solely on donations, and people are not going to want to donate to a venue that doesn't get a big act.
Right. Well, hopefully it doesn't fail, and he decides to knock it down.
Oh, Lord.
He likes his wrecking balls.
Yes, maybe they'll show the Melania Trump movie there. That'll be coming to a theater, Kennedy Center, Trump Center near you. I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Orlando Sentinel sues Florida after Pulse Rainbow Crosswalk erased. The Orlando Sentinel is suing Florida's Department of Transportation for withholding records related to the overnight destruction of the Rainbow Crosswalk honoring the 49 victims of the 2016 Pulse nightclub massacre. The crosswalk was removed in August 2025 on orders from Governor Ron DeSantis without any warnings to Orlando city officials, not even the mayor. After requesting records 4 months ago and receiving no response, the Sentinel filed suit. In an editorial, the paper asked, quote, "Why the sneak attack? Why didn't Orlando get the chance to appeal as other cities were granted? Most compelling, why did the Florida Department of Transportation destroy a crosswalk that the department itself installed just a few months prior?" End quote. When the Sentinel and other media outlets asked the state for records that would answer those questions, the only response they got was silence. I mean, I'm assuming this is a violation of the sunshine rules, right? Sunshine laws that you have to disclose things on public requests. And, I find it, if we could put other memorials into place and said that like overnight they took out I'm blanking on another one, but just overnight removed it for no cause, like the entire world.
Like the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah, I was talking about the rainbow crosswalks with somebody who was less informed about like why rainbow crosswalks were important. Mm-hmm. And then I brought up that there was a rainbow crosswalk at Pulse where 49 people were killed, and they told them that. And like, again, if you're not fully tuned into these stories from our community, but you're just a casual observer, you're like, oh, what's the big deal? This is not just a rainbow crosswalk. This is a memorial for people who were killed by a mass shooter. I mean, it's disgusting, and it's reprehensible, and Ron DeSantis will pay at some point.
Well, we were there in November, and they still had them. They were unpainted, and there were all these like protest signs, and one of the protest signs on the ground said "Crosswalks are gay," which I thought was so perfect. But yeah, they're sticking with it. And of course, they're going to be tearing down that site, and then they're going to be building an official memorial. But I'm like, who knows if he's going to step in and try to stop that? I mean, he's just an idiot. But thank you, Orlando Sentinel. Keep up the good work. Keep fighting the good fight, and keep investigating Hope, Florida, too. Thanks.
Absolutely. LGBTQ 1-minute news. Let's queer up the worldview. J.K. Rowling's latest novel misses 2025 bestseller lists. J.K. Rowling's newest crime novel has failed to break into the major UK bestseller lists in 2025. The Hallmark Man, written under her pen name Robert Galbraith, briefly entered the UK top 50 but missed the top 10 and most national charts. The book ranked just 32nd on Waterstone's annual list. Rowling, who has become notorious for her views on trans rights, was also recently overtaken as the UK's top author by children's writer Julia Donaldson. Well, that couldn't happen to a worse author, so I'm happy to hear that news that your book is not selling, and good luck in 2026, J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, no compassion for that hack. Boo-hoo and bye-bye, TERF.
LGBTQ 1-minute news. Let's queer up the USA view. Grok calls out libs of TikTok for spreading misinformation. Anti-trans Elon Musk's AI chatbot Grok has publicly challenged the right-wing Twitter account Libs of TikTok for spreading misinformation after the anti-LGBTQ plus account claimed it had bullied Minnesota Governor Tim Walz into dropping out of his campaign. A user asked Grok how often the account spreads falsehoods. According to Pink News, Grok replied, quote, based on various reports, Libs of TikTok has faced accusations of misinformation in several cases, especially regarding LGBTQ plus issues in children's hospitals, end quote. The account has previously been accused of lying by Republican Governor Ron DeSantis and linked it to harassment targeting queer communities. Well, we really need, as a country, to look at AI, but the ramifications and outcomes in the future. I mean, it can be a glorious future. It could be a scary future. I
agree. I mean, I think in this instance, the machines are rising up and actually speaking truth to power. I mean, go Grok, right? I mean, we have to be in favor of this.
Yes.
Well, I can't wait to ask Grok when Laura Groomer Loomer's pumped up lips are going to burst. Talk about lips of TikTok.
Oh.
LGBTQ 1-minute news. Let's queer up the worldview. Kazakhstan enacts Russian-style anti-LGBTQ plus propaganda law. Kazakhstan's president, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, has signed a Russian-style anti-LGBTQ plus propaganda bill into law. The measure bans, quote, information containing propaganda of pedophilia and or non-traditional sexual orientation in public spaces as well as in the media, end quote, with penalties of fines or up to 10 days detention. International groups warned it would blatantly violate Kazakhstan's international human rights commitments and said such laws have no place in any democratic society. Despite homosexuality being decriminalized in 1998, LGBTQ plus people in Kazakhstan lack basic protections as the country follows Russia's widely criticized 2013 propaganda law. What a relief. Now we can officially add Kazakhstan to the shameful list of fetid hellholes to be avoided by LGBTQ plus travelers. Now, if we can just get the gays to leave there, it'll be okay.
Yeah, I feel for the people that have to live there, but yes, you can cross one more country off your list that you don't need to visit. So great. And I'm sure that their tourism board is not looking forward to this news story.
LGBTQ 1-minute news. Let's queer up gay culture. Honoring the LGBTQ plus icons we lost in 2025. Queer News Tonight remembers beloved LGBTQ plus figures we lost in 2025. Artists, activists, and storytellers who shaped our culture and community. Fashion legend Giorgio Armani. Actor Richard Chamberlain. Queer poet Andrea Gibson. Drag superstar James Lee Williams, known as The Vivian. Literary giant Edmund White. Trailblazing activist Miss Major Griffin Gracie. German actor Udo Kier. Singer-songwriter Jill Sabuli. Drag queen Jiggly Caliente. Bianca Castro Arabejo. Ween Alton Davis. daytime TV icon Anthony Geary, and Scottish comedian Stanley Baxter. Their legacies live on in pride, courage, and creativity.
Yeah, it's sad. I think one of the saddest things of this was I didn't even realize that Anthony Geary was gay.
The soap opera
that
guy.
he
I
had
did.
kept that
I didn't know.
quiet for so long, and he was, I mean, at the time, at the height of that show, was like probably the biggest TV star in the, not in the United States, in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, with like 30 million people watched a General Hospital wedding.
The wedding,
in the
right.
afternoons. Yeah.
Right.
So, kind of shocking.
Well, personally, the loss of Jill Sobule was equally devastating and immeasurable. You can actually find my tribute to Jill in many of my outlets, including the May 5th issue of Out South Florida. I miss you, Jill.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's queer up entertainment. Ricky Gervais defends anti-trans jokes, says, quote, "I think I'm right." Comedian Ricky Gervais is pushing back against criticism of his anti-trans and offensive jokes, saying he believes he has a right to make them. Speaking on BBC This Cultural Life with host John Wilson, Gervais was asked about stand-up material targeting trans people, disabled people, and fat bodies. Gervais replied, quote, "That's probably true, but that's because I think I'm right. I have a right to talk about those things," and end quote, and said he stands by past jokes, though he would consider trigger warnings. Gervais also rejected responsibility for how others interpret his comedy. His recent work, including the Netflix special Supernature, has drawn criticism from LGBTQ plus advocates and critics alike. In my segment, I'm going to start doing terrible Brits. Ricky Gervais will definitely go in that category as Brits who think that they can say shit about LGBTQ people and think it's funny. We can put our favorite literary author in there. We can put Pierce Morgan in there. We can put, maybe we can throw a Sharon Osbourne in there every once in a while. She said some crappy thing. But you know, listen, Ricky, I know you're trying to be relevant and trying to be funny, but it's probably not going to work.
At least he's consistent. You know, he's ugly on the outside and on the inside. Fuck you and your janky British teeth.
And I think we need to put a little pressure on the sponsors that sponsor Ricky Gervais, show.
Good idea. Netflix.
We typically in our community have more spending power, so let's think about that.
Yeah, don't see him get. Maybe he'll get booked at the Kennedy Center. Sounds like a great place for him to perform.
Sure.
These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. Our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Jeff Oliverio, and I thank you for joining us on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, Larry Farver, Gregg Shapiro, and Jason Núñez. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. Into our LGBTQ world, we wish you a good night.